The city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
What are you talking about? Earthquakes, volcanoes.
The uprising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Massive Harry!
I'm Andrew from the Dad.io podcast. Life supplies the inputs and we supply the outputs. Part of the Gonna Geek network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other fantastic and amazing geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
This is PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. We're a geek podcast for geek culture, so are you ready to get your geek on? Sit back, relax, step out of your TARDIS and warm up your chimichangas because this is PopXcast.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
PopXcast.
Hasta la vista, baby.
By the power of Grayskull. Autobots, transform.
Excelsior!
Hey guys, welcome to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. I am your host, Lindsay Badger, your favorite geeky okie, and we'd like to welcome everyone joining us live in the PopX.live chat room and anywhere else on the internet you might be seeing this to come on over and hang out with us. Join the conversation at popxcast.com. If this is your first time tuning into PopXcast, make sure you hang around for the first 20 minutes or so because we run down some of the latest headlines in geeky news since our last show, and then we dive into the show's main topic about halfway through, and you need to stick around for all of the geeky goodness that we have planned that's coming your way. And you know our main hostess you're not a hostess, you're a host.
I can
with
be
the
either.
most,
I can be either. It depends.
Joe Burke. How are you tonight, sir?
What's up, Lindsay Badger? How are you doing, my dear? What's new in Oklahoma right now?
Oh man, it is back to school week, and it's been a struggle to get routines back on track. But you know what? It's looking pretty good.
Looking pretty
good.
The
kids love what they've got going planned for the year, so I'm a happy mom.
That's awesome.
I am a happy
mom.
mom.
Well, I mean, are you celebrating?
I did celebrate, actually. First day of school, as soon as I dropped him off, I went straight to the grocery store and bought a bottle of wine.
You did not.
I did. And then I put that sucker in the fridge, and at lunch with my sandwich, I had a glass, and it was just, the whole house was quiet.
That's so rad.
For hours.
That's
and I
so
didn't even
rad.
know what to do with myself. I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like, all right,
I have all this time now.
Is it 3:30 yet?
Where do I go? That's so awesome.
Oh, it's been great, though.
Well, awesome sauce. And I'm your host, Joseph Burke. Thanks, Lindsay Badger, for the amazing, unworthy intro. But I am Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast. Now, I want to say, be sure to head over to Google Play or iTunes after the show and click on that subscribe button. And be sure to catch up on some amazing shows from our PopX archive. And while you're there, we certainly appreciate you showing us some love by leaving us a beautiful, glowing, radiant, jubilant 5-star rating and review. Yes, it looks like a caramello bar. Exactly what Mike has on the screen right now. That's pretty amazing.
I love caramel stars.
I do too.
I take them in all flavors, but caramel's up there.
Oh my gosh. And if you guys missed a couple of weeks ago, we did episode 100. Yes, that's right. PopXcast officially has turned 100, if you can believe that.
That was a fun one.
It was an amazing show, by the way, and I just want to say hats off to all of our amazing fans who subscribe and listen faithfully each and every week here on PopXcast. Thank you guys so much. You guys are rock stars.
You guys are the real heroes.
You guys are the ones that make it happen. You're the mayonnaise to my BLT.
Oh, man.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So be sure to check out that podcast, and you can always find all that stuff over on our official website at popxcast.com. Well, Lindsay Badgie, are you ready to throw down some news this week? Oh, we should probably address, we're missing a fourth host this week.
I'm feeling a little incomplete.
I know. We probably should let you know, Austin is not feeling very well tonight, and he's like, man, I want to be there so bad, but hey, send up some positive vibes to my cousin, Mr. Austin Burke.
Healing juju flying through the internet.
Yes. Send it into a rocket and into outer space, and maybe it'll land right on his head. I don't know, but we can always be hopeful, right, Linz?
That's right.
All right, guys. So we'll send some love to you, Austin. We love you, man. We miss you, and we hope to have you back here on the next episode on 102. With all that said, here is PopX News coming to you right now. Don't go nowhere.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live, right here on PopXcast.com.
For our audio podcast listeners, if you guys do not watch the PopX live stream, you are missing some beautiful, glorious Mike Ippolito love right now. The dude is amazing. I love you, Mike.
This is my favorite part of the show.
I know, it is. It's one of my favorite parts, too. All right, so this week, kicking off the news this weekend marks the 50th anniversary of the legendary music festival Woodstock. Now, the 3-day event festival was host to performers such as Jimi Hendrix, Santana, The Who, Janis Joplin, and the Grateful Dead, and is considered the pinnacle of the summer of love culture in the late 60s. Now, unfortunately, due to differences between the promoter and the venue, there will be no official Woodstock anniversary concert. Now, several artists, including Santana and the Doobie Brothers, will play live at the original Woodstock location in Bethel Woods, New York, but this and other tribute events can't call themselves Woodstock or even the Woodstock Experience, because if they do, they might just receive a cease and desist order from the Woodstock founder himself.
I think all hippies everywhere, hearts are broken.
Yes.
That they're not getting to celebrate such an iconic event in our history.
Yeah, I didn't attend Woodstock.
Well, I didn't attend it either. I wasn't alive.
I saw it on 8mm though.
My parents didn't either, because that's just not what they were into. But the event itself is so iconic, and it represents such a great era of music and the artists that were alive, that it's really sad that you can't celebrate such a milestone with some of the original artists that aren't going to be around much longer, ladies and gentlemen. People do get up in age, and I'm thankful that even some of these people are still performing.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, Carlos Santana is still rocking the frets, man. He's doing what he does. So that's awesome. So my favorite part, I think, of Woodstock was the Mud Monsters. Remember the Mud Monsters?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Lindsay, carry it on, girl.
All right. Well, this one's a little sad news too, but in a different way, I guess. Krypton. I remember the hype about this show whenever it first came out. They have acclaimed that's the acclaimed sci-fi series that was centered around the adventures of Superman's grandfather 200 years in the past. Unfortunately, has been canceled after 2 seasons. This comes in spite of the fact that Lobo, played on the series by Constantine veteran Emmett Scallon, has been expected to get his own spin-off series on the network. It is possible that the story threads from Krypton could be picked up on Lobo if it goes into the series, especially since the season 2 finale, which aired earlier this week, we saw Adam Strange and Seg-El preparing to follow the main man into space. That seems unlikely, though, as the report indicates that Lobo is dead at the network too. So it's still kind of shaky on any of that stuff actually coming to fruition.
On the flip side, it's a good time to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen this show, I've heard good things.
Yeah. Again, though, it goes back to something that we've discussed here many times on PopXcast: oversaturation of the market of comic book shows.
It's hard to get the eyeballs.
It doesn't matter how hardcore a fan you are, you're not going to be able to catch up. You're not going to be able to see everything.
I did, however, finish The Boys this weekend. That is one that I had in my back pocket.
I hear The Boys is pretty hardcore.
I thoroughly recommend it, but not with your children.
That's what I've heard, yeah. So it's pretty gory, right?
It's very gory, and it's very adult.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
Very adult. Ugh. Okay.
Sorry, totally off topic.
Well, I know. It's all good. I mean, I watched The Walking Dead, but, I mean, there's no, adult parts.
There's mature rating for a reason, and all reasons are ticked.
Okay. All right, so moving on with the news. Back in 1982, Filmation debuted He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, an animated series based upon Mattel's He-Man action figures. Now, while the series ended in 1988, it never had a true series finale. But, thanks to Netflix, and the original Masters of the Universe is getting an old-school comeback. You heard us right. At PowerCon 2019, filmmaker Kevin Smith announced that he is the executive producer of Masters of the Universe Revelation. Smith will also be the showrunner, while powerhouse and creative mind behind Netflix's Castlevania series, which is an amazing Netflix anime series, will provide animation. According to Smith, the series will be the direct sequel to Filmation's Masters of the Universe that we've been waiting for.
Wait,
Holy cow.
You hear that? You hear that? That is the true cry of joy from all geeks around the universe.
Yeah, behold.
At once.
On this day, many geeks cheered. We rallied.
I felt a little rumble there,
I felt something. That there was a little bit of, I think...
man, you couldn't have picked a better person to head up this project and kind of steer it in the right direction. Kevin Smith is your true iconic geek of all geeks.
Right.
And if anyone's going to bring He-Man to justice, Kevin Smith is your guy.
Kevin Smith has got so many arms in the fire lately, and it's actually a really cool thing to see and witness, because he is just doing so many things. They got the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which I hear is going to be a very red band hard R rating. But it's just really cool to see what he's doing. And I've said this before on PopX, what he's done during the latter years of Stan Lee's life and legacy, and just being an advocate for Lee during, literally Smith was the one that pulled Lee out of the conventions, because Lee was just, he has a heart for fans, and he couldn't say no, but his health was failing. Kevin Smith was a huge part of pulling out Stan Lee.
Guardian angel.
He was a guardian angel for Stan Lee. And so I think a lot of us fans, of Marvel fans and fanboys and fangirls alike, will always be very thankful for Kevin Smith for what he did during Lee's final years.
Good guy.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, some extra news here. Earlier this week, CBS and Viacom announced plans to merge, which means that you're going to have the reunification of these two companies is going to make Star Trek television and film rights come together for the first time in almost 15 years. Trekkies, I think I heard another rumble.
Wow.
The Trekkies just got up off of their couches and said, hallelujah.
That is two major franchises right there.
That is some massively huge news.
Wow.
Some already wonder if this could lead to a new era for the Star Trek franchise, reclaiming its spot in the upper echelons of the modern fandoms.
Yeah, the upper epsilons, if you
Yes,
will.
echelons, just the
Yes.
levels of
Yes.
greatness.
Yes.
And what that means for the creative side is yet to come. But since Discovery, Star Trek's tie-in materials such as Star Trek Online, the Star Trek novel series, and the IDW publishing Star Trek comic books have all been increased coordination in attempt to keep all of the storylines consistent, which thank you for anyone who decided to do that.
Hashtag
And
continuity.
with the Star Trek film and television back under the same roof, this could happen for both those pillars of the franchise as well. That may be a long way away, but there's no longer any reason that any of the characters from TV can't run into the characters from the movies. Wow. So Star Trek fans will have to wait and see what Viacom CBS plans for Star Trek. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep our little lamp lights of hope alive because the future looks great for the Star Trek.
This is such
Trekkie
good news.
land.
This is such good news, Lindsay, for Star Trek fans, and myself is included because I've shared this with Austin on the PopXcast. My father introduced me to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes, I remember us talking about that as well.
And I mean, so many times my dad would literally just have me. We would be on Saturday morning cartoons, Saturday doing all that stuff. Look at that beautiful logo, Viacom, CBS, Star Trek Universe. They all merged. That is so cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool though because now for the first time the film franchise and the television franchise can become one, a continuity. It must kind of like Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the MCU. How all that's set up.
I love how those crossover. It's super great.
It would be cool.
I've not necessarily from childhood, perhaps because my parents weren't Trekkie fans at all, but growing up, I remember middle school and maybe even some into my high school watching the reruns of Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Voyager,
Voyager. Those two franchises I was really well familiarized with.
Yeah.
But anything earlier than that, I really had only seen snippets of or knew kind of gists of storylines. So I actually decided to go back. On Netflix, they have every franchise on there, except for the new one. I don't think Discovery's on there. But I went back and started watching not Deep Space Nine, Next Generation.
Yeah.
I'm on season 4, and I am just enjoying the heck
You're
out of it.
already on season 4?
Yeah, I'm already on season 4. There's 7 seasons.
Wow.
I'm halfway through this sucker. I'm just trugging on through, and I'm enjoying all of it. The thing that surprised me the most, though, Joe, was that my daughter got excited about watching.
You were telling me about that Abby was watching.
I didn't quite know if she was going to be interested or not because she's 8, almost 9.
Yeah.
And she's right at that age where that's something that would kind of start piquing interest. But she's so into space and science and all the stuff and this is obviously sci-fi. But she's like getting to know the characters. She's getting involved with the storylines. She's asking me questions. And even at the dinner table, she's making Star Trek references that just make me crack up.
That has to
and
be
the
a
rest
proud
of my
mom
husband
moment.
and my son are just like, what the heck are you talking about? So that's kind of a proud geek moment.
That is a proud
that
mom
I'm passing
geek
on
moment.
that to the next generation. The next generation to
Just-
the next. See what I did there? Yes. Okay.
Snap.
We can
All right.
stop all the nerdiness
you're
now.
just,
Carry on.
All right. Speaking of Star Trek, before we move on, I'm really excited to see Picard. I'm just going to say that. All right. All right, so from Star Trek to Star Wars, the Star Wars franchise hasn't seen the last of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, it was announced on Thursday. It was confirmed that Ewan McGregor, McGregor, is set to reprise his role in a current untitled series for the Disney Plus streaming service. Now, reports are that the series could span 6 or 8 episodes, possibly. And fans had already begun to speculate that McGregor would be returning to the franchise after a report claimed that he had signed a contract to do so. Now, this comes after years of rumors and speculations have hinted that Lucasfilm further exploring Obi-Wan's story in some of the form or fashion, and it's going to look like it's going to come to fruition now. An Obi-Wan movie was believed to be put into development in May 2018. Remember, we talked about that on PopXcast, and we always wondered, what happened to that? Yeah. With Stephen Daldry being brought on to potentially direct. Now, months later, here we are in the present day, McGregor himself has squashed that reporting, hinting that there were no plans for it to happen at that time. Instead, it's going to be happening on Disney Plus.
I have like a little bit of a schoolgirl crush just in general with Ewan McGregor before he decided to come all over to the light side of the Force.
Yes.
So the fact that he can sing and dance and throw around a lightsaber like nobody's business, I am totally 100,000% excited about.
And let's not forget to put out a picture of Ewan McGregor during Easter time. Just for those that are intuitively inclined. All right, so Mike says he has some news for us this week coming from the world of Stranger Things. Mike, what is...
I love anything Stranger Things.
What do you got
Bring
here
it on.
for us, Mike? Mr. Mike Ippolito, I think he's...
It's not so much news. It's more of another purchase.
Oh, show and tell.
When we originally did this, the Stranger Things episode, I had picked up a special edition vinyl box set from the soundtrack, and now I have my next installment.
Oh no! Look
Come,
at
children,
the
gather around the
artwork.
carpet, sit around in a circle.
Oh, that's so
And
beautiful.
that's from season 3.
And this is all LP vinyl,
Oh,
right?
with the scrunchie and the neon space blade.
Yes, these are.
Goodness.
That's a
This
nice.
is the
set.
actual soundtrack, not the original score soundtrack, but this was a special edition that comes with a bunch of stickers from the show.
Wow.
Here's one I'll have to kind of cover up a little bit.
Scream for life.
Those from the show.
Nice.
And also
I
a
want the
mini
censored
poster
sticker. Can I have the censored sticker?
that it comes with it.
Actually, I don't need it.
And also it comes with the 45
A 45?
of the Never-Ending Story.
No.
Yeah, as sung in the show.
Shut
I'm
up.
done.
Yes. So
Wow.
That's the coolest
the
dang
duet
thing
with
ever.
Dustin
And
and,
it's
what's her face?
Yeah.
Now, what is the records? Oh,
And a special edition 180
My
gram vinyl.
God.
It's so pretty.
That is amazing looking, dude.
And this is a Urban Outfitters exclusive.
Urban Outfitters?
They're the only ones they have. There are other variations. There's I think a blue or purple vinyl, but this one kind of, piqued my interest to have the orange vinyl.
Can I just have one of each?
But that's from the songs from The Who.
I don't
That's
even know if I would
amazing.
ever take it out of the package if I owned it. I just want to say that I have it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
That
man.
is beautiful geeky goodness right there.
That's awesome. Well, listen, we're going to round out the news.
I have the next on
Go ahead.
order, the original soundtrack from the original orchestra soundtrack that's not available until October, and that also has a special edition vinyl that has the fireworks like from in the show as well.
What?
Yeah, so
So
that'll
they
be
made
coming
like
in October.
a firework pattern on the vinyl
Yeah.
LP?
Mhm.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
You'll have to show that. When you get it in, you'll have to
wanna
show
see
us.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Man. So we're going to continue on here. It is 9:21, and I guess Mike's going to be hanging out too here for a little bit as well,
Yeah.
and shortly.
Mike, you always find the best stuff.
I know
You really do have
Mike
the best
has
show
the
and tell.
coolest collection. If you've never, I mean, his house is literally a walking museum of comic book retro geeky glory.
I've seen some pictures when you've been visiting. I just like scope the background, like all
Yeah.
creepy stalker like.
He has like
And
look at that look at the
look at all
look at the
this.
Doctor Who stuff over his shoulder. I mean,
All the
Yeah.
pictures with all the I assume they're autographed
now
over
look,
there.
You see on over his left shoulder, you see those multicolor. Those are silks from Ready Player One that were printed overseas. They are
Oh, that's
silks.
cool.
They're not paper or parchment, or they are silks printed.
Yeah, it's a silk material.
Never seen
That is
that before in
cool.
my life. It's the raddest thing ever. All right, so
Nice.
I'm going to unlock the seat here, and we're going to actually invite our guest, Mr. Matt Sanders, on board. He's going to be coming in here and joining us right now. And I'm so excited to have this guy on. Oh my God, he lives and breathes.
What's up?
Dude, look at
Hey.
your background, man.
You know, I had to get ready, man. I had to get
Dude.
ready. And believe it or not, this is my office.
So you're at your office.
Yeah.
Rumor has it, there is a proton pack hanging in your office.
There would be. Let's see if I can get it all the way
I
back
see it.
there,
I see it.
right above my Stay Puft, right over there.
Oh my gosh, that is so rad, dude.
That is so cool.
Man, welcome to the show. This is Mr. Matt Sanders from Well, I mean, from the Containment Unit, my gosh, dude, it's so great to have you on here. I've been so excited to talk about Ghostbusters, especially now that the new movie is getting ready to come out and all the old original cast is on board. Dude, let me just tell you, I am super excited because Ghostbusters and Star Wars and Star Trek was my childhood. That was it. You know, if you're talking about animation, that's different. That was He-Man and all kinds of other stuff, but that was the three. And Ghostbusters was right in the top three, man. It was just so amazing to see the chemistry of the. And I'm sure you share that same passion as I do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I share the same three minus Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie.
You're not a Trekkie?
I'm not. I haven't gotten into that. Although I like the JJ movies, I can't watch the show.
Okay.
I can't get into it. I tried.
You tried. Yeah.
I did.
Your hat looks pretty. It looks pretty on point, dude.
Thanks, man. That's our Containment Unit logo.
Yeah, it is. So
it's the Moogly holding a Sharpie. So
it is. And so Matt, let's talk a little bit about this. We got some stuff lined up for you here. Right off the bat, before we get into the question, I just want to know, what was your brainchild on creating the Containment Unit? What started all that?
So, my buddy Tom Henry and I, we were in some other autograph collecting groups and circles. And when it comes to autographs in the Ghostbuster universe, Tom is the guy. He is the guy.
Okay.
And so we've become friends, and we just got to a point where, like, you know what? With this new movie coming out, there's a lot of people who would like to collect this stuff. So let's create a community for all these collectors. Ghostbusters has a lot of collectors, similar to Mike and his Stranger Things and Doctor Who and all that. There's a lot of people who collect Ghostbusters, and so we knew that there's going to be a lot of new merch. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out,
right?
And we wanted a place where people could show it off and help add to their collection.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. And so basically, now we're going to be talking about this a little bit later. You also head up another presence in the world of the internets. That is like one of the founding, home base of autographs, right?
Yeah, that's my personal. So it's called the Auto Grotto. That's more of where I share my personal collection, and it's more Star Wars based.
Right.
And so I've done interviews with Star Wars cast and crew, and we post them up there, and so that's kind of my personal hub. But Containment Unit's more of a community.
Right. Well, let's get into this, because I want to dive into this world. I want to get to understand what is a Containment Unit, what is all this about, how do you get involved in this? So let's dial it back to the 80s. You know, let's take Doc Brown's DeLorean and go all the way back. So here's a young little spry Matt. You know, he's bouncing around the living room, and he's playing in his childhood home, and he's got your proton back on your back, and you got your ghost trap out. So tell us, how did your love for Ghostbusters begin? How did that all formulate?
You know, I think a large part of it was the animated show, The Real Ghostbusters. I was a huge fan of the show growing up.
Wow.
So I was, maybe TMI, I was born in '84, so the year that the original movie came out. So I was not able to see that when in the original release in theater, but I was all about the show. And then I was all about Ghostbusters too. I know that this may be a divisive statement, but I prefer the second film. Like, I love Ghostbusters too. I don't know that it's a better film, but as far as my personal favorite, it's Ghostbusters.
It's the one you connect with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I watched the show. I remember for my 6th birthday, my parents had set up a lot going into it about their house being haunted, and there were these ghost sightings and all these things. And all of a sudden, for my 6th birthday, here comes an ecto right down the street, and Ghostbusters came to my birthday. So that was a huge moment for me. And then I think the other thing, and this has got me excited for Halloween Horror Nights. But the show at Universal Studios, you guys remember that show?
I have seen the show recorded on VHS tape, but I have never personally got to see it.
I was one that actually attended it.
Wait, Mike, you've seen it?
Yeah, I've been to it. I was there once when Universal first opened. They had that show, and actually for the time, it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
It was incredible. And fun fact, Wayne Brady was the original Winston, one of the original Winstons in that show.
Are you serious?
Wow.
That's serious. Yeah, so
my
that's all really cool.
Wow.
So I remember just going to the theme park, and that's where I bought my flight suits, and that's where there was so much cool merchandise. And so, yeah, for me, it was definitely the cartoon, though. So that was, I love that thing.
The cartoon was awesome. I remember watching that many mornings while consuming some Fruity Pebbles and enjoying Slimer and all the friends. And I loved it. I loved the take on the animated series because it made Slimer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man the heroes. They were on the side of the Ghostbusters, and they were like, you know, Stay Puft was the big Goliath that would go into battle and help out the Ghostbusters in the moment. Yeah. It was so cool. My favorite episode, I'll have to share this, my favorite animated episode is when they actually went into the Containment Unit. You remember that one? It was a 2-part series.
Yep. There's so many great characters, and ghosts and specters, and it was so rich in characters that it was just every week was a great episode.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Mike, what do you got for Mr. Mad here?
What do you feel is the impact the Ghostbusters franchise has had on pop culture today, and do you feel a revival of sorts coming from the new film in 2020?
That's a big question.
That's a deep one.
So, man, the impact on culture is huge, right? Yeah. I mean, I personally think the first movie, it's almost perfect story-wise. When you think about a movie, like it's almost as perfect as it can get when it comes to story. The special effects were incredible, and they still look good today.
Yes, they do.
You look at just the action, the humor, and I don't know, Joe, maybe you can correct me here. I don't know that there's a better all-around cast than the original Ghostbusters film, especially comedic.
Yeah.
I mean, agree with that. You look at Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis. I mean, it's just amazing.
Annie Potts.
Yep. And the way that they just worked together and they would improv, and man, it was so good. But I think, so here's what's crazy. I was in church this morning.
Okay.
Joe, I don't know if you caught this, but our pastor used a line from Ghostbusters in the sermon.
He did.
And we're talking about Keymaster and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just, you talk about the one-liners that just have infiltrated our common language today. It's just, the impact is huge. It's huge. And I don't know that we'd have these massive budget comedic films that we do today if it weren't for Ghostbusters. So that's that. But then you mentioned this new movie, man. Wow. I'm excited. It's going to be nostalgia crazy. I don't know a whole lot about what it's going to be. There's some theories floating around. I'm trying to keep clean.
Yeah.
And keep things unspoiled.
So,
but
I was going to ask, are you refraining from spoilers and pictures that fans are posting? Are you refraining from all that?
I'm not actively seeking it out. So
okay.
So if he just accidentally stumbles upon it, you know.
Exactly. I'm going to read. I'm going to look. There's been a lot of stuff coming out about the car, and which I love it. It looks so cool. There's some stuff coming out that way, and I'm trying not to ruin the story as much as possible. Yeah. But I love that Ivan's son is directing it. I think Jason's going to do a great job, and which I think is going to be phenomenal. So to answer your question, yes, I think there's a lot of hype building up to this film. And I think there's a lot of people hopeful that it will be the film that the one in 2016 was not.
Oh, man. And going back here for a second, and I'm going to let Lindsay have it, but I just wanted to share something. You were talking about the overall hype of pop culture that has this.
Yeah.
All right, so we have this perfect storm of comedy. You have Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis. Yep. Harold Ramis went on to write how many television shows and films? I mean,
some of the best episodes of The Office was directed and written by Harold
Ramis. You're right.
I love The Office.
And so you get those together, and then you throw in a couple other, significant others like Sigourney Weaver and all them other ones, very seasoned actors and actresses. Yep. It was just a perfect storm of comedy. And I just remember so many moments like, you didn't sleep with a slime, did you? You did. Funny moments. It's just like that a scientist, a nerdy, geeky scientist would do. And oh my God, there's a fire pole. We're going to use a fire pole. And I was like, I guess we'll take it.
I just read that there's a scene where Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis, is having the party in his apartment. And I was told that that is one continuous shot of just 60 seconds of him freestyling.
Really?
He's just making up that whole dialogue about so-and-so doing this. And it's so good. Bill Murray, if you watch any of the deleted scenes, just his freestyling and the lines that he created, like back off, man, I'm a scientist, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's just making up on the spot. And it's stuff that we all still use and may not even know where we get it from.
You look at that comedic pull, so you got Rick Moranis, he came from SCTV out of Canada, and then you got Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, Saturday Night Live.
SNL.
So I mean, you got some heavy hitters here on board, and I'll touch this on briefly. Most of the original cast, with the exception of the late Harold Ramis, is coming back. Do we have a definitive on Rick Moranis and let's see.
Didn't he kind of like disappear off the grid for a while because he's had some personal stuff going on?
His wife passed away.
I heard
and
that.
then he made the commitment to stay at home and be a dad to his kids, which is really honorable.
I love that.
And so he's slowly coming back out of retirement. And so rumor has it he's supposed to be in it. So
I look forward to a surprise appearance from him.
Yeah.
There's I know that we've been talking about a lot of favorite parts, but do you have like a single moment, either from the cartoon or the movie or both, that stands out to you as like your all-time favorite either episode or scene, dialogue moment?
For some, I can't put my finger on it.
Okay.
But I think my favorite scene from all the films so far, and including the animated series, is in Ghostbusters 2, the courtroom scene. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they're being tried and they're in suits. But then all of a sudden, the Scolari brother prisoner ghosts pop out in the middle of the courtroom, and they got to put the proton packs and get to work. And for some reason, I just love the visual of seeing them in suits busting ghosts.
Yeah, man.
And it just, to me, it's just such a great scene.
It is a good one. It is a good one. You know what? And let's enjoy this moment for a second. I'm going to share my favorite scene, and it's definitely from number 2. I have to echo what Matt Sanders is saying.
I'm telling you,
it's the moment when they're inside the Statue of Liberty and they're they're covering her up with slime to get her to move down to break over the barrier. Your love lifted me high. Yeah, man. I say your love. Jackie Brown, man. But I just love that scene. I remember as a kid watching that. I would rewind it back on VHS and watch it over and over because it was just such a fun scene. Yeah. There's just.
I love how Bill Murray's like talking to the statue, like she can. It's funny.
And you got the statue walking through the Hudson Bay. You just see.
He's like, "Let's go, baby! You got this, girl."
Beautiful scene. I mean, this
it really is.
Lindsay, do you have a favorite moment from Ghostbusters?
Oh man, there's so many. I think that it's one of the most iconic, but Slimer just pigging out in the hotel room. It's just, I know it's the most iconic, but I think that other than that, it would have to be the Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Stay Puft Marshmallow.
I really, he is my hero.
Yeah.
But those two moments really stand out to me.
He's big and sweet.
He is big and sweet. He's squishy.
Mike, do you have a favorite? I'm just curious.
It's a scene similar to that where Dan Aykroyd turns around and the cigarette is just barely hanging on right there.
That was
I thought
great.
it was hysterical.
I don't know how he does that.
I have no idea.
That's Dan Aykroyd, man. He's awesome, dude. I mean, come on. That's one half of the Blues Brothers,
That's right.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Containment Unit. Let's bring it back for a minute. And
Let's do
autographs and all this fun stuff, and you get to do. I mean, this is so cool. Some of the people that you've met. You met Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd. I can't even begin to list all of them. So what are the origins of the Containment Unit autograph fan base, and why are autographs such the appeal for you? Why autographs?
So I'll start with the autograph. Why the autographs for me first? And the easy answer is I don't know, Joe.
Okay.
But I look up and growing up watching movies like Indiana Jones. There's always something about I've always been a collector of some sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something about collecting pieces of history, which to me is what an autograph is. It's capturing a moment in time before selfies were a thing.
It is true.
So, and then growing up, I collected sports cards. I collected sneakers. So I was always collecting something.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, it really just manifested itself in autographs. So I collect autographs of all kinds, but I mainly like to get signed trading cards. I like to get get cards signed, and then photos where I have to. So that's my primary thing. So it's kind of a good mix of both things. But I think it is, like I said, a moment in time. It's like capturing that moment. There's something about some of these autographs are not easy to get. And so it's the remembering how you got them and what it took to get there.
The journey.
So, yes, it is. It's the journey. So that I think that's what that is for me. And not autograph, but the Ghostbusters Containment Unit. So again, my buddy Tom and I were really thinking like, we gotta. I think there's huge amounts of Star Wars autograph collecting groups. I'm a moderator in the largest one in the world. It's called the Star Wars Autograph Universe, and Tom and I kind of met in there. But we're like, I think there's an opportunity for Ghostbusters collectors to get together. So we created this, and it was really cool because not too long after that, Wizard World, the convention organization, they found out about us, and they invited us out to the Ghostbuster Fan Fest that took place in LA in June. And so they had us set up a table, and they wanted us to display autographs and teach about autographs. And so that was phenomenal.
Wow.
That was the 35th anniversary celebration, and all the cast was there, and it was on the Sony lot. And so for me, I'd never met anyone in Ghostbusters, and in a single weekend, I've met Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson and so many other people that I admired my whole life.
Wow.
Plus, to see the original car from the film.
Oh, wait, the original?
Good night. Yes, it's on the lot, man.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me.
Beautiful.
Oh,
it is
my gosh.
beautiful.
Somebody's having a fan moment here.
Stop me, Joe.
No.
Stop me.
You know, you really said something that kind of resonated with me, and I can understand your heart in what you're doing, because I had a chance and opportunity to meet Stan Lee in 2015. And my brother from another mother down here in the other window was so blessed to get a signature, an actual autograph of Stan Lee for me from Dragon Con in Atlanta. So while I was getting the photograph in Orlando, Mike got me the signature at Dragon Con in Atlanta. And so now I have a personal piece of historic memorabilia with a legend who created a universe. His signature, his actual hand was on the paper writing that signature. And now looking back in retrospect, now that the late Stan Lee has went on to the other universe, it's really cool to see, just sitting there like, man, that is a moment in time. I can remember me and Alex staying in line for 3.5 hours. I can understand when you were saying, like, I can remember the moment and the journey. It was just amazing for me. Oh.
Weren't we there at the same time, Joe?
Oh, that's the same outfit he was wearing. Yes.
Yeah, I think we were at the same.
We were at the same one in 2015. Yeah. That is right, because you and I were texting back and forth. Yes.
And think about, like, how much more meaningful that stuff is now that he passed. Like,
yeah,
you can't recreate that.
Now I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Do you have a Harold Ramis signature?
I have a couple. Yeah.
All the feels.
Do you
feels,
want to see
man.
it, or?
Yes. Do you have it?
I have it handy.
Please. Oh my gosh. We get to see a Harold Ramis authentic signature.
I have 2 of them.
Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
So,
I'm going to try to maximize your screen here.
Okay,
Matt.
good luck.
Okay.
Here's my first one.
Oh.
So you'll see.
There it is.
Harold right here. And then I got Dan down here. Trying to get Bill, that's going to be
hard.
That's going to be the tough thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got Harold signed in gold, Dan there, and then I got another one right here.
Oh, that's so beautiful, dude.
This one is.
That's
it's
from
made out to Bill.
Yeah.
But it's written down in there, and then at FanFest I added Dan Aykroyd and I added Ernie Hudson.
Look
so
at
now
that.
I just need Sigourney. And I need Bill Murray. But
oh my gosh.
I had to find those.
That's amazing, bro.
I don't know how you have a Ghostbusters piece without Harold. That's hard, man. He's a huge part. It's like getting that Star Wars piece without Mark Hamill. You know, it's just a massive part.
That's a really interesting way to put it. Now, I wonder how much of the original story, both films, did Harold write? It was Dan Aykroyd wrote a lot of it, but it was like 50-50, wasn't it?
I would say, yeah. So Dan had the huge overall idea, but for him, it was going to be a lot of time travel and dimension travel. And Harold was able to make it, with Ivan, make it very real.
Yeah.
And it was Harold's idea to bring in someone like Ernie Hudson. So I'm sure you guys have at least made this connection, but you've got Bill, who's the mouth. You've got Dan, who's the heart. You've got Harold, who's the brain. But it was important to him that someone like Ernie, who's that everyman kind of.
The everyman, yeah.
Yeah, the kind of skeptic brought him into it. And I think
with
that
our
was
powers
huge.
combined.
So yeah, I don't think Ghostbusters would be what it is without Harold. And
I agree 1,000% on that statement for sure. Yeah. All right. So Lindsay Badger, or is it Mike? I think Mike.
I think Mike's up this time.
Mike's up.
You don't just collect autographs from Ghostbusters franchise, but many other pop culture entities. What's your most prized autograph in your collection?
Ooh.
That's like asking me to pick my favorite kid.
We won't tell them.
This is going to be fun. I'm just going to sit back and watch this one.
Can I be a little loose here? I brought show a couple. Is that okay?
No, that's fine. That's why that's why you're on the show, man.
So again, I'm a trading card guy.
Okay.
So I brought some of my favorite signed trading cards for you guys. Right. So here's my first ones.
Okay.
So I collect all of the same set from Star Wars, and so I got one signed by Harrison Ford, who obviously played Han Solo.
Yes.
And then this one signed by the late great Carrie Fisher.
No way.
So I get made fun of because these cards are not the prettiest, but they're just that vintage goodness, man. I just love the colors. I love the art.
Yes.
But yeah, so I have these two.
They're actually graded too. Look at that.
Yeah, I've got them encapsulated by Beckett Authentication Services, so they're protected. You know they're real, and so that's all really good. In case one day I die, my family can get the maximized value out of them.
Nice. That's a beautiful thing, bro.
So then here, I brought these two. I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan.
Oh, you're killing me.
And so I've got this one that's signed by Michael J. Fox, and he inscribed Marty. And then I got this. Now this card, this is probably my favorite autograph in the collection. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's signed by Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox.
Oh wow!
This card took me forever to get. There is no original Back to the Future card set from the original film. And so they released a very limited set in Kellogg's in Canada. And so I was searching high and low for this thing. And so I got this at the last MegaCon here in Orlando. The whole cast was there. And this card arrived on Saturday morning. And my wife, the saint that she is, got the mail, drove it to me at the convention center so that I could make it on time to get my meet and greet with the guys and get it signed. So
yep, she's a keeper.
What a
really
story,
She's a saint,
bro.
So I love that one. I just love Michael J. Fox.
I do love Michael.
You know, I kind of admire him for the same reason I admire Joe. What you guys do for people who struggle and fighting the same battle is so honorable and encouraging to me, and I just love him for that. So. Then I'll show these last two, and then I'm done.
Oh man, you bring a tear to my eye. Don't I can't be compared to Mr. Michael J. though. He's awesome.
Hey, Joe, what you do with the hemophiliac, man, that's big. So don't sell yourself short.
I love you, man. Thank you.
I will agree with that.
I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. So if you're asking me my favorite movies, it's going to be Back to the Future franchise, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, and Star Wars. That's my top 4.
Wow.
And so I like these cards. These are from the Kenner action figures. I don't know if you guys ever collected those growing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got this one signed by Sam Neill. I haven't got it slabbed yet, but then I got this one signed by Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man, he's got the deep V.
I have a
gosh.
sick infatuation with Jeff Goldblum. I
love
what
Jeff
it is,
Goldblum, bro.
but I love that guy.
I'm right there with you, dude. I love him. He's a good guy. He's a weird guy, but he's a good guy.
Dude, he's so good.
Dude,
so
your
good.
collection is beautiful. I mean, that's just now.
That's amazing.
Is that all you had for us? I mean, is there more you wanted to show, or?
Well,
We can do this all night.
I got my binder of Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So if whatever you need, Joe.
Okay.
I will. I'll pull it out.
Now I will ask you. I want to ask you this. So like, let's talk about the Autogrotto because Mike was asking you about that. What you did.
Yeah.
Can you estimate or guesstimate how many signatures? Because I follow you on Instagram, and you seems like you're posting a brand new signature every week.
That's a sickness.
How many? No, it's a passion, bro. It's a passion.
Thank you for putting a good spin on that.
How many signatures do you feel that you have right now in your collection? Have you count? Is there a count?
I have not collected, or I have not counted, out of fear of making myself ill. I would say it's in the multiples of hundreds.
Oh my gosh! You guys seriously need to follow his account.
Yeah, probably. 500-ish, if I had to guess.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
That's
here. I'll show these two. These are my Bill Murrays.
Oh, that's the old Bill Murray. Is that from the award show?
Yeah. So he did the award show.
Yeah.
And so I got that one, and then I got the young Bill Murray right there.
One. Yeah.
But so here's, and I'll say this too. So if anybody's looking to get into autographs, there is a cheap way to do it. A Bill Murray autograph will cost you about $200 to $300 if you buy it on eBay, which that's risky business if you don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
But I do a lot of it through the mail. So in the business, we call that TTM, through the mail. And so what I'll do is I'll print pictures. I'll send them out in the mail and with a letter asking the celebrity to sign it, get on that Google machine and look up the address, or I'll send it to sets.
Wow.
And oftentimes they'll come back signed. And so it's been really great, a great way for me to add to the collection without breaking the bank. Because I can't. Autographs are getting expensive.
So it's just the price of a stamp, basically. Really, you're just dropping it in the mail and just having a wishful prayer, hoping it comes back, and
exactly,
bada boom, bada bing.
So, and so I got I add to my collection a lot that way.
That's so brilliant, dude.
And if anyone's ever got questions about that, feel free to contact me. Let me know. I'd love to help you with that.
That's awesome.
So the Auto Grotto, that's kind of what that started as for me, was an opportunity for me to share stuff I'm getting through the mail, help collectors add to their collection. And that's kind of spilled over into the Containment Unit because Tom and I feel very passionately about helping people get real stuff.
Right.
Because there's so much fake out there. I mean, I know you guys all see that in the different things you collect where there's any way for people to make money.
They will.
Fake it.
Absolutely.
I've seen some forgeries. I've seen some forgeries at cons before, and I can tell.
Oh.
Yeah.
A convention is the worst place to buy autographs unless you're getting it yourself.
Yes, it is. Unless you're actually in line with a celebrity, you don't know what you're getting. Unless it's CGC graded or one of those ones that's confirmed that is the actual authentic signature. I agree 1,000%.
You were saying earlier about how Bill Murray's difficult to get. Is it just because he doesn't do fan events, or why is he more difficult than the other members to
Good question.
acquire?
You ever watch the documentary on Netflix with Bill Murray, where he just has the random show? I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it's like he just randomly shows up in places, and he'll show up at house parties. The thing with Bill is you never know where he's going to be. So that's the hard thing. And you can ask different people who know him. I remember asking Ernie Hudson when we had our signing with him if he talks with Bill, and he's like, yeah, every once in a while Bill will call me, but it's impossible to call him back. So the guy, he does not own a cell phone. So he's using one of his assistant's phones, and he's got a random voicemail that has, if you can get the number, so that's the only way to contact him. And so even for Ghostbusters, when we were at the Fan Fest, the 35th anniversary, the whole cast was supposed to be there, and up in the air was, Bill was invited, but we don't know if he's going to show up. That's kind of his MO. And so Bill's never done a convention. He's never done a private signing. He if you get him, if you see him in person, if you can track him down, he's hit or miss if he'll do it. Sometimes it'll be great. Sometimes you'll get a funny Bill Murray story, and sometimes you'll just kind of leave there a little angry. But you just never know what you're going to get with Bill.
Wow.
So that's what
Well, that definitely ups the value if you can snag one.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a comic book artist, Todd McFarlane. He never attends a convention. He's only attended like 4 in his whole life. And if you can get a Todd McFarlane signature, most of the time it's a mail-in thing where you have to mail it in to his publisher. And so I understand what you're talking about. Wow. So I think Lindsay is going to be rounding out the final question of the night.
I know at the beginning Joe took you over to the DeLorean and you guys went to the past. Let's drive to the future. Let's say 30 years because, you know, the movie's like 30 years old. So we're just going to go in the future 30 years. What do you see for the future of your projects that you've got going on right now, the Containment Unit and the Auto Grotto? What's like your long-term vision, your dream, your aspiration for your babies as you see them grow?
That's a great question. Thinking that far ahead, that is so tough. But all I can tell you, like a dream, if I were just out there, I want to be the group. I want the Containment Unit to be the group that has the first signing with Bill Murray. That would be phenomenal.
That would be like a private signing?
Like a private.
And we're trying. We've got some angles. We're trying all of our connections. We're trying to make it happen. But that would be it. And so but that's really, we just would love to keep doing these private signings. We've got one coming up. If I can plug it real quick.
Yeah, please plug anything you want to do. Yeah.
Like we're doing a signing with Will Duchendorf, who played Baby Oscar in Ghostbusters 2. He's another first-time signer. He's never done a convention.
Share that
He's never done an official signing.
Baby.
And the thing is, for us, like we're not even trying to make money on it. So it's $25 for an autograph, but all of it is going towards the survivors of suicide loss in San Diego. So I don't know if you know this, but his brother Hank, who is also in the movie, he unfortunately committed suicide, and so Will is doing whatever he can to not only bring awareness to those who may struggle with those thoughts, but also to the families who are survived by it. And so we reached out to Will and said, hey, we'd love to do this signing where all the money goes towards a charity of your choosing, to a suicide charity of your choosing. So that's what we're doing. So
that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's all great causes, and so we're trying to do stuff like that, and we want to help people. We want to meet needs. We want to leave a good mark in this world, but we also want to help people add to their collection. And so I don't know beyond that. I know that with this new movie, we'll have a lot more people to try to contact and connect with,
and hopefully a lot more opportunities too to make those dreams come to fruition. And
I would love to meet Paul Rudd, man. I love that guy.
Paul Rudd's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Paul.
He's
Rudd's
always got
fantastic.
a smile on his face. I've never seen him like upset ever.
Yeah.
No.
I think Ryan Reynolds would be it for me. I'm just a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds. I know sometimes he gets a little bit off collar and cheeky and stuff like that, but I just love his quickness. He's just so quick and snarky on his comments.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love Paul Rudd too. I mean, Ant-Man, he literally breathed life into Ant-Man in a way that.
But he's in Ghostbusters 3. He's in Ghostbusters 2020, so it's like perfect for me.
Yeah.
I got a man crush on that dude.
I have one last nerdy question,
crush.
and it's a movie reference question. Does the 1-800 number still work from the commercial in the first movie?
I don't know. I've never thought to call it. Have you tried it before?
I have.
You used to be able to call
back
it.
in the 90s, probably, but I haven't recently.
Freeze frame it. You used to be able to call it.
Yeah. That's a mission after the show.
Right.
You can go figure that out.
I'll go do that.
I don't know what the number is.
Does
off
anybody
the top
know
of
what the
my head,
number
or
is?
I
We'll
would
try to
totally
call
do
it and
that.
see what happens.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah. If anybody can Google it right quick, we'll do it live here on PopXcast. But, so Auto Grotto has a vast collection of signatures that you have going, and then from that spawned the Containment Unit, which is like where you collect molds, spores, and autographs, which I think was pretty cool. You know, that's one of Egon's original sayings.
Yep.
So it's so cool, and I've seen this journey where you started Auto Grotto, and now you've done the Containment Unit, and it's just kind of, I want to say in the Ghostbusters world, blew up. Because there's a lot of respect and admiration that comes behind what you're doing, especially with the actor. What was the actor's name that played Oscar? I'm so sorry.
Will Duchendorf.
Will Duchendorf. And what you're doing there is just fantastic, and I think that's the way it needs to be handled, especially when you do these kind of fan of things. Is you're not acquiring it for yourself, but you're doing it to meet the need of a greater cause, something a lot more further than you are. So there's the phone number.
I think Luke has it down in the chat.
All right, so hopefully I don't go to China on this, but we're going to try. So we're going to do this in real time while Matt's here.
I'm so excited right now. You have no clue.
2368. All right, 2368.
I love doing nerdy, geeky things.
Right,
we
so
called Stranger Things whenever we did our Stranger Things shows.
We did. All right, so here we go. All right, this could be bad. It could be good. I have no idea. I've never done this before.
Let's find out.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. It's busy.
Oh.
People are still calling it.
It's busy. I wonder if actually people are needing some ghosts to call. You know what it is? It's the 555. I think that's what it is, because in Hollywood they would always replace the. Yeah, it's not working.
No go.
No go.
Well.
So.
Shucks.
Wow. But
Well,
you know,
I
Luke,
wonder
thank
if I
you for
can
looking that up for us.
sneak in one last question. It's something that caught my attention right when you
Please.
came on. Directly above your head, I see some action figures from the animated show.
Oh yeah.
Real Ghostbusters. There was also the other Ghostbusters, the Filmation Ghostbusters. I was wondering what your take was on that show, if you had any interest in that.
The one with the gorilla?
Yes.
Yeah, so I did watch that a little bit as a kid too. You know, I didn't mind it. It was fun. It was not the real Ghostbusters, but it was a fun show. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be comparable to the He-Man franchise. You had Masters of the Universe, and all of a sudden you had He-Man in the future fighting Space Skeletor, which made no sense whatsoever. Then all of a sudden, Stay Puft has been replaced with the gorilla.
Yeah,
So,
that's
a little strange.
But yeah, the gorilla
That's
it was almost like Scooby-Doo. It was more of like a Scooby-Doo type thing.
Scooby Scrappy.
Yeah.
So you got this gorilla that's helping them. It was two guys with a way different car, and
yeah, I get it.
You know, but that was a fun show. I actually have that on DVD somewhere.
Well, Matt, how can people find the Containment Unit? How can they get connected to that? How can they find the Auto Grotto? If somebody has a question on them, maybe they've always had a hope and a dream and a vision of getting that one autograph from that one celebrity.
Yeah.
How can they get in touch with you to answer those, ask those difficult questions? How can they do that?
So I would say if you go to on Instagram, you can go to the GB Containment Unit. We wanted to shorten it a little bit.
Okay.
And you can follow us there. We've got, we've got topic of the days. We've got all this other stuff going on that hopefully it would be a good place for you to connect. But then the other way is we do have a Facebook page and group, which if you go to the page, you can find it there. I'm trying to make sure that it is just called the Containment Unit.
Okay.
And so we've got all that in there, and I think it is GB Containment Unit in there again. So
got it.
You can do that. And then my page, the Auto Grotto, is just at the Auto Grotto.
Yeah.
I've got a Facebook page for that.
And that's Grotto with 2 T's, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Sweet, man. Well, Matt, dude, thank you so much for diving down the world of full spectrum night vision cameras and Egon and Slimer and all this great cool stuff and ectoplasm and all that stuff. And
guys, I had a great time.
Dude, I've been looking forward to this podcast for a long time, and I think you and I have been wanting to try to connect in this way for a while.
Yeah.
And, I'm just so thankful that you're on the show, and I'm just seeing some of the stuff in your collection just really brings to life that inner nerd in all of us, Yeah. That's such an impactful thing growing up. We see these moments from our childhood. Me and you grew up in the 80s, like, well, Mike did and Lindsay did as well. And so we're all children and products of the 80s, and this is ingrained in us. This is who we are, and now we get to actually interact and be a part of history and get these autographs and these signatures and memorabilia. And it's a very satisfying hobby. It's a very good one. And dude, you got any last comments, Matt, before we say adieu?
No, just thank you guys. I want to congratulate you guys on 100 episodes. I'm kind of bummed I wasn't number 100. I'll take 101 though.
Okay.
All right, I'll take 101.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a huge accomplishment. So you guys do a great show. You have a great product, very professional and polished. So just keep it up, man. I love what you guys do as well.
I appreciate
Thank you
that,
so
Matt.
much.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us, and that is episode 101. Matt, you want to hang out for the end? You're more than welcome to. But if you want to step down. But so that's pretty much it for tonight. Lindsay, you want to take us out and read the script there? And
Sure.
We'll get her
sure.
on.
I am Lindsay Badger. You can find me at LR Badger on all of the social places on the interwebs. And don't forget that we are part of an amazing network called the Gonna Geek Network. For all things even more geeky, head over to gonnageek.com and check out some amazing podcasts on our home network. Also, while you're surfing those internets, don't forget to connect with us on the social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and even on Pinterest, all at PopXcast. Send comments and suggestions to us via email at popxcast@gmail.com. And also for future and past shows, make sure you head on over to our official website, www.popxcast.com.
Indeed. And I am Joseph Burke, a.k.a. at Joseph Burke Arts, all over the web. And, of course, hats off to amazing Team PopX, as always. Mike Ippolito for joining us and just doing an amazing job, as always. Love you, Mike. Thank you so much for doing that. And I tell you what, man, this has been a fun show. It's been a fun month of just doing some cool podcasts and getting to talk with Matt. That was really, really cool. And hope you guys enjoy that.
Thank you, Matt, again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And find him out on the Instagrams and on the Facebooks. And, hey, dive into that world. It's a fun world. And
we also need to give a shout out to Wirecast for doing some awesome love for our show.
Indeed.
And Mr. Stephen Haywood and the Telestream crew. So we want to make sure to give big loves and shout outs to them tonight as well.
Bow to your sensei.
All right, join us next time on episode 102, where we're going to bring you some more wonderful geeky news and some great topics that you all have come to know and love. So from all of us here at PopXcast, thanks for listening, thanks for downloading, and we'll see you next time right here on PopXcast. Oh my gosh, it was such a fun episode. I don't want to go, but I have to go. All right.
We'll see you next time.
We're going. From everyone at PopXcast, thanks for listening. Please make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PopXcast, and click the follow button to get our live stream notifications. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check out this and more great content on the Gonna Geek Network at gonnageek.com. Get your geek on!